Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're going to talk about something that shocked me for the first time when I first heard it a long time ago. And it was actually from this video by UCLAradio.com. And this is from an interview about 10 years ago. And in this interview, they interview this guy named Dr. Dario Nardi, and he was laid off as a lecturer for like some petty stuff going under the department. And one of the things that he says, like the most insightful things that I ever heard, or maybe I just never heard anybody else say it, but he was talking about how like he thought school was about learning, and then he was like, "Oh no, it's not really about learning. Maybe it's about making money." And then he's like, "No, no, it's not about making money. It's about ego and power." And when I heard that, I was like shocked. I was like, "Dang, that means like everything is about like controlling others, and everything's almost a charade, and life in general is almost like a waste of time, like especially as a young man when you hear that, it's a little bit, well, I wouldn't say a little bit, it's very depressing. It's like, well, why would I ever want to wake up if so many people, their goal in life is just to control others, right? And I say this as a person, who maybe I was naive too. I just thought like life was about whatever you told me it was about. So if I'm going to go to school, I thought life was about learning in school, or I thought the purpose of school is to learn. And then you kind of later find out, like, hey, if you do too well in school, then the people who are like in charge feel threatened by the students who do too well, right? Like that happens all the time. And or if you go to, let's say, like college, or you're work at a workplace and you do your job too well, then people can feel threatened. And then it's funny is like whenever you see a job ad, you see like people who, the ad always says, oh, we want people who have top credentials and 5 to 10 years experience. And then once you hire that person, they do too well, then you do whatever you can to kick them out. Because if you ever read the book for the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, what's rule number one? Never outshine the master, right? And unfortunately, I tend to break that rule just because, if I think about that too much, then I can't find a reason to get up in bed and do my work, a good job, right? Because I've always been like one of those people who just feels like I need to do a good job. I just can't do go to work or do something and just do a mediocre job at it. Like I gotta be awesome at what I do. I want to be the number one state champion of a football team if I did play football, right? That's just my personality, especially as an adult. Now as a kid, I was never like that. But one of the things that I found out in general is that people in general don't like that, because if you do too well, they feel like they can't control you. Isn't that sad? That's really sad. But that's what, you have to be aware of, and that's like the mines in the minefield, right? That's the hidden secret of our society. And that's what Robert Greene said. When I remember a long time ago, I heard an interview with Robert Greene where he said, "Oh, people will talk about their intimacy and their intimate lives on like public, you know, media, but they don't talk about how like people have this hidden agenda to want to control others, right? And that's really sad. And here's the thing, actually, before I actually get into this, let me go ahead and play the clip of when I heard this for the first time and I felt like shocked and depressed, but I'll go ahead and play it.
But to answer your question, I mean, this is the really funny thing. When I was a student, I thought that the university was about learning. I mean, silly me. And then when I was a graduate student and later sort of starting as right here at UCLA in the beginning, I understood no, it's about like research and grant money, of course, to help fund that research. But now I understand what universities are really about, and they're like all human institutions. They're about ego and power. And so I know that seems like a very abstract answer, but if your listeners remember anything, it's to know that as they go out in the world, that wherever you have institutions with low transparency and low accountability, you will have people who are there purely to ensure that they remain there.
Right. And I don't know if you have ever been in that situation where people are just there to be there, and sometimes they'll just go ahead and sabotage you. And if they feel like they can't control you, they'll almost do anything they can to kind of eliminate you, right? And that's the unfortunate truth about a lot of the human institutions of our society. It's about ego and power, and people are just there. And this human drama plays out no matter what you live, right? Like you could live in, the rural boony areas of a society, and you see it there as well as the big cities, and that people are just, random people come out and they take positions of power, and then they'll. But main focus is life is want to be able to control you, and then when they see that you improve yourself or have great ideas, and you want to share it with them, because they feel like if you're improving yourself too much in your life and they can't control you, they actually want to eliminate you. And that was actually in Robert Greene's book, The 48 Laws of Power. Rule number one: never outshine the master, right? And that's unfortunate that so many facets of life are like that, so many minefields. And that's why I warn people, like I even warn young kids, hey, um, if you're going to do a good job, just do it for yourself and don't ever expect other people to really recognize the good job that you're doing, right? Because it's going to, eventually when you get old enough, people will see that as a threat, right? And that's kind of sad. Now, here's the thing. I was just purely naive because I was always wanting to do a good job, especially in the later part of my teen years and especially as an adult. And the thing that got to me was realizing that people actually are threatened when you share your ideas, innovation, creativity, and people don't want to hear that. And that's why I think a lot of people, even though they have quote a good job, leave companies to start new ones because if they stay in that company, think about like the guy who founded Zoom. He actually worked as an engineer at WebEx, right? And then he left WebEx to found Zoom. So if you just stay at a certain company, you're restricted by that power structure from spreading your wings. And if they feel like they can't control you, then guess what? You're their enemy, right? It's a fortunate part of life. But yeah, so what do you think? I mean, do you want to see this interview in total or in its entirety? It's about, I think, 24 minutes long, but it's a very interesting one, and I probably should review it again. But the thing that I remember most from this interview about him saying that life, just these institutions or universities are about ego and power, and I thought, wow, that's so profound, and that's relevant to so many things in life. Okay, so this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. If you're interested in joining our group, go ahead and click the Google form link below. Other than that, have a great day and we will speak soon.